Welcome back to the second part of achieving metabolic health. If you want to know what it means and why it's important to have good metabolic health, I encourage you to go back to part one, which will be the episode before this one. I will link to it in the show notes. So let's get started. When I was explaining last week the things that can improve metabolic health, I specifically honed in on one thing that you can do that will make the biggest difference, and that is exercise. Now, all of the things are important. Movement, daily movement, our nutrition, having a diet that supports good metabolic health, and then things that support the health of our liver are important for metabolism and metabolic health. But specifically, I want to talk today about not just exercise, but a certain type of exercise, and that is resistance or strength training. When we are discussing metabolic health, really, we can't have a discussion about it without talking about resistance and strength training. So, what I'm going to do for you today is outline not only what I'm currently doing, but I'm going to give you some different scenarios for your goals. So we all have different goals. I often hear from the women who come to me, they know I have a bodybuilding background. They know I used to compete in fitness competitions, and they'll say to me, I don't want to be a bodybuilder, but I just want to look and feel good. And that certainly is possible. You don't have to be a professional bodybuilder. You don't have to do the type of cuts they do to get ready for the stage, meaning cuts in body fat, and be as strict as the bodybuilder diet or exercise plan. But you can take elements of that and apply it to your life. So, first of all, if you're just looking for overall good health, metabolic health, you want to improve your strength. You're a woman, you're over 50, maybe over 40 even, and you want to improve your physique. You want to be stronger. And again, you just want to feel good. Maybe you have kids, grandkids, if you're in your 60s, 70s, even. This is equally as important. Take, for instance, travel. Many times when we travel, we have a carry-on bag, and if you're like me, that bag is somewhat heavy and big, and you need to get it up in the bin above. And yes, when I travel with my husband, he's going to grab that bag and put it up there, but it's important as women that we keep the strength to be able to lift that bag and put it safely in the bin. We want to have the endurance to climb stairs if needed. Let's say the escalator is broken, the elevator's broken wherever we at, and we need to climb the stairs. We want to have health that allows us to do that safely and without too much effort. I mean, naturally, as we age, things can have a little bit more effort to them. I am the youngest of 5 kids, and I'm 63. My siblings are quite a bit older than me, so I've seen these effects, even though they're exercising or even though they are strength training. But we want to minimize the effects of aging and keep that metabolic health. So what should you do as a starter? Well, first of all, you're going to need to have either a home gym, which I'll talk about in a moment, or access to a public gym, private gym that you can join and use the equipment. If you're brand new to strength training, I always recommend getting a trainer who can spot your form and prevent you from getting injured. At least have some really good video tutorials that you can watch, or if you're working online with a trainer, consider having somebody take a video of your form if you're not sure and send it to your trainer to spot check that form. If you have a home gym, you want at least 3 sets of dumbbells, preferably something on the lighter side, the medium side, and the heavy side. Bands can come in quite handy. They don't take up a lot of space. I like the spree bands with the handles. If you have a door attachment, you can do things such as a lat pull down or a row. You can also get the shorter, I call them booty bands or glute bands for your lower body. So those are a few different ways that you can create a home gym. If you want to spend more, you can. You can buy equipment online if you have the space to set that up. Perhaps you want to use some kettlebells. That's another good option for strength. But between having a bench, I really do feel a bench comes in handy, especially for those chest presses or maybe even doing step ups. If you're able to eventually do those, that's a great exercise. So having a bench and a bench that's adjustable can be helpful. So you can use it almost like a chair. If you're doing a seated shoulder press, you can do an incline chest press or a flat bench chest press or flies. And then having your sets of dumbbells. 3 is just for starters. Eventually, you're going to need more. You're going to outgrow those dumbbells. And the mistake I see with a lot of women is they outgrow the dumbbells and they don't add on to their home gym. They just keep using that same weight because they don't want to add on to the home gym. I do recommend that periodically you bring in more equipment. So you could have, your kettlebells, your dumbbells, your bench, and your bands, both the longer bands with the handles that can attach to things to make sure you have the door attachment, and then also the glute loop bands. If you have access to a gym and a trainer, all the better to get you started. The minimum would be 2 strength training days per week. Now, with only 2 days, I recommend full body days and that you not do them back to back. So maybe have a full body day on a Monday, again on a Thursday, and in between, you're doing your walking, maybe a little bit of high intensity interval training on a bike, on the stairs. There's videos you can download and follow those. There's apps that have HIIT training in it that you could follow those. So really setting up that home gym for success and then deciding on your 2 days. These do not have to be 2-hour workouts, but I do recommend giving yourself a full 45 minutes just to get through the motions and not feel like you're rushed. Yes, you can do a 30-minute workout, and yes, you can do circuit training where you combine exercises into a circuit. But keep in mind, if you are doing circuit training, you're almost crossing over into the cardio zone because you're not getting a lot of rest. You're just moving from exercise to exercise. And at a certain point, you're going to want to separate those two things out where you have your cardio, you have your movement, and then you have your resistance or strength training, and you're not turning your resistance training into a cardio session. Now, when you're ready, adding on a third day is really it's optimal. That's going to be better results for you. 2, yes, you're going to get results, but you're probably going to plateau at a certain point unless you're really pushing the weight and going to that failure point, which I will describe what failure is in just a moment. But having 3 days is going to be better, like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now, there's 2 different ways you can structure those 3 days, and you will hear people argue back and forth about this. So there's the full body, like I just mentioned, and then there's splits where you work on certain body parts. With 3 days, again, that's not that many days. So I recommend one of the 2, either full body, or you can do a couple of different things. You could do, say, 2 lower body and 1 upper body. And then the next week you switch it and you do 2 upper and 1 lower and go back and forth, such as in that manner. You would combine all of your upper body exercises together, combine your lower body exercises together. Let's say you're splitting your upper body workouts into 2 workouts. So you're doing 1 lower, 2 upper. I would split the push muscles and the pull muscles. Your push muscles are your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps. Your pull muscles are your back, all of your back muscles, your lats, your rhomboids, all of those back muscles, and then your biceps. Think of pulling something, and then think of pushing something and the muscles that you're using. And then your lower body day would encompass all of these. You could sprinkle in some core work, maybe ending each workout with one good core exercise or a couple of different core exercises. Again, 45 minutes to an hour to give yourself time to go through the muscle groups. Now, when you are ready or if you have bigger goals. Maybe 3 days is good for you. You're doing things like playing golf or tennis. You're doing, dance at the gym. You're doing Pilates, yoga. You got a lot of things going on. 3 days might just really fit nicely into your schedule, and you can progress well with 3 days. That's giving your body enough time to cover all the muscle groups. It's difficult to cover all the muscle groups thoroughly in 2 days. Because I do come from that bodybuilding background, I get a little obsessed with helping my clients really achieve symmetry in their physique by making sure they're hitting all of the muscle groups. So they're not just doing a shoulder press, they're working all three heads of the shoulder for shoulder stability and health. They are doing some isolation exercises and not just compound. We'll talk about that in a moment as well. 4 days is really going to start to hit a sweet spot if you have bigger physique goals. This is for somebody that's saying, I really want to develop the muscles, I want more definition, and you're going to put in more time. Now, again, you have to look at your goals and you have to look at your schedule. What do you realistically have time to do, and what are your goals? If you have greater physique goals, you have something in your mind that you want to achieve with your body, 4 days is going to allow you more time to do that, or even 5. In the bodybuilding community, we do 5, and for bikini, we would do 6. Now, the 6th day of training was a lighter day where we just sort of hit the glutes. It was like, kind of just dotting those I's and crossing those T's with the glutes and the hamstrings, because that was such an important part of the bikini category in fitness competitions and bodybuilding competitions, and that's what I did. But there's no reason for you to do those 6 days, even 5, if it doesn't fit into your schedule. So 5 is going to be you're starting to cross over into more of a bodybuilding regime. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to look like a bulky man bodybuilder. That's not what that means. Bodybuilding is simply developing all of the muscle groups on your body. It's getting that full development, that full symmetry, that really going for that aesthetic look. That's what bodybuilding is. Now, within bodybuilding, there are several categories, from bikini to figure to physique to bodybuilder. Bodybuilder being the bigger size, physique being bigger, more cut, more ripped. Figure bigger than bikini, more developed. Bikini a little bit more like how you would picture, back in the day, like a fitness model, with maybe a little more muscle than the traditional fitness model. But it's going to be, again, for bikini, more glutes, more hamstrings, more shoulders, and the smaller waistline. So really that hourglass shape is really important for bikini. So there you have your days that you can choose from: 2, 3, 4, 5. No reason to go to 6 unless you really have extreme physique goals. So take a look at your time. Take a look at what you really want to achieve, and is this something you enjoy? Because if you're forcing yourself to do 5 days, then you're not going to stick with it. It's not sustainable. It's like the diets that aren't sustainable. Now, things to consider in your strength training: going to failure. Now, failure does not mean that you have lousy form. We've all seen the guy. It's usually a guy. It's never a woman. It's usually a guy with dumbbells or a barbell that's too heavy, and he's swinging to get that weight up. And I don't like to say it, but oftentimes it's an older gentleman over the age of 55 that is doing this, standing there with a barbell, and they're using their lower back and they're swinging, and they're not getting a good full range of motion. They're not even really activating the muscles that they want to activate. They're letting ego get in the way. So that is not failure. That's just being ridiculous, quite frankly. Failure is where you are performing a set, and when you get to the last 3 reps, it starts getting really difficult. And you can feel that, you know what, I don't have too many more reps in me. and you're just squeezing out that last rep, and maybe you try to squeeze it out and you can only do a half rep. So you're curling those dumbbells, but boy, you come to repetition number 12, for instance, and you're just squeaking it out, or you really can't do any more. It is the point where if you went any further, form would break up. Now, you don't want to go to that point where form breaks up, but as you intuitively begin to work through this process and listen to your body, you'll know when your form is going to break up, and you will stop that set at that point. Now, failure is not something you do for every set, for every exercise, every single time you go to the gym. It's something you do periodically, and you do it to advance. So what that does is you are, basically doing these micro tears, this micro damage to the muscles. When you rest, they build up and repair bigger and stronger after they've been pushed to that. Now, having said that, there are many ways without going to failure that you can stimulate the muscle growth. And to me, it's all about muscle stimulation. So sometimes I feel really strong and I'm going to take some of my sets to failure. I rarely do it for my lower body because, quite frankly, I've had back surgery, I've had a back fusion, and a lot of times it's just not safe for me to go to failure, like on a leg press or a squat. I really can't go heavy enough or long enough or safely enough to get to the failure point. So I use other things. I might use a higher rep with less rest. I might do a lower rep and really slow it down. So let's say I'm doing 10 reps on the leg press, but I'm doing them nice and slow. I'm coming down slow, up slow. I'm squeezing the glutes, the hamstrings, the quads. I'm playing around with my foot position. So bringing my feet close together and low on the leg press plate, on the leg press machine, will work more of the quads. Bringing the feet higher and further apart and pushing through the heels is going to work more of the hamstrings and the glutes. If I turn my feet out, I've got them very wide and maybe a middle point on the plate, and they're turned out at a 45-degree angle. That is more of a sumo stance, and I'm going to get more of the inner thigh, outer glute with that. So I do a lot of different things, sometimes a single leg press because I don't do the deadlifts anymore, and so that's a substitute for me. So there's many different things that you can do. So let me tell you what I'm currently doing. I am doing 5 days per week because those physique goals are still really important to me right now on a personal level. I enjoy it. I enjoy strength training. I enjoy how I look, and it's something that I want to continue to do 5 days, and I'm sure that I will reassess that at a certain point. So for me, that 5 days looks a little different week to week. On some days, I always do 2 leg days. That is a non-negotiable for me. So I'll do 2 leg days, and I'm working my quadriceps, which are the front of the thigh. I'm working the hamstrings, which is the back. I'm working the adductors, inner thigh, abductors, outer thigh, and my glutes and calves. So I'm really thorough on those days. I might do different exercises on each day. So I might have one day where I focus more on the quad and the calves, and then another day where I focus more on the hamstrings and glutes, and I change up the exercises. And then the other 3 days would be a push day, a pull day, like what I talked about, and a second shoulder day. And that shoulder day would be more of a quicker day, more of a pump. I might do a little bit more cardio on that day, a longer walk on that day. I might do the stairs because I'm just hitting the shoulders. It's not as taxing. Yes, the shoulders are burning when I'm done, but I'm not getting that taxing feeling that you would from the back muscles or from the leg muscles, which are larger muscle groups. Now, the next week, I might change it up. So I'll do a push, a pull, and I'll do 3 leg days, but one of those leg days is going to be more band work. It's going to be a little lighter. I might do some glute some glute bridges and hip thrusts, some band walks. I work a little bit more on isolation, maybe some glute kickbacks. I might do a walking lunge in there and a squat that's not as heavy. Maybe it's a goblet squat or a sumo squat. I'm not doing the leg press on that day. I'm not doing heavier things on that day. So that is what my workout looks like. Now, what kind of exercises should you be choosing? So first of all, you want to start your workouts with your compound exercises, and this is going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. So these are exercises that use multiple joints and multiple muscle groups. So for example, if you're doing a squat, you're working a lot of different muscle groups. You're working your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your glutes, your calves, even your core and lower back might be involved in these. A chest press, you're working your chest muscles, your shoulders, and your triceps. So if you're short on time, you want to concentrate on those type of exercises. You want to start with those types of exercises, and the isolation should come last. Now, occasionally, I will do something where I will do supersets and combine a compound exercise with more of an isolation. So what this might look like is I do a lat pull down on the cables, which is working my back muscles, and then I move to the other cable and do a bicep curl just for the sake of time. A superset is where you combine two exercises. You don't rest. So for instance, the example I just gave, let's say I do 12 repetitions of a lat pull down. I move over and do 15 bicep curls, cable bicep curls. I rest for 60 seconds, a minute roughly, and then I repeat that superset for a total of 4 sets. I like to do 4 sets, minimum being 3 sets, maximum being 5 sets. Again, 5 sets, that is more of when you're in that bodybuilding mode where you're taking things just a little bit further with the muscle development. But 4 for most people, when you're a little bit more advanced, is going to be good. As far as a warm up, I might do warm up sets that don't really count as working sets. So for instance, if I'm doing the lat pull downs, I might start with a weight that's really rather light and I'm just warming up the muscles. I'm just using that range of motion, but I'm not counting that as one of my 4 sets. I might do a couple sets like that and then go into my working sets. So you can actually have warm up sets, and that can be more effective than, say, stretching, and safer than stretching. I never stretch before a workout. That's something I might do at the end of a workout, but not before. So I really like to get the blood pumping into the muscles I'm working, and then I like to really wake up those muscles. So for example, with a leg workout, I might do a stationary lunge or a walking lunge with no weight. And those are warm-up sets just to get the blood flowing through my legs, get my heart pumping and ready to go, and then pick up the dumbbells and start to add load. So those are just a few different suggestions on how you can structure your workout. If again, you're just hopping in and you didn't listen to the first part about metabolic health, I want you to back up and really listen to that, because it sets the stage on what I'm talking about today. You're really going to understand the benefit of strength training if you listen to that first episode. Metabolic health is at the core of how well we age. It is at the foundation of our longevity, of our lifespan, of our health span. So if you think about your lifespan, your number of years, and then you think about maximizing, which is really what I'm more into at this point, is health span. Yes, I want to live more years. I have a lot of plans and a lot of things to do, and I love my family, and I really see life as such a gift. And so, yes, I'd like more years, but I want those years to be healthy. Strength training is one of the best things you can do because we become insulin resistant. And if you're wondering what that is, go back to the first part 1 episode. The link is in the show notes. Check it out, and that will explain why that is important. But we become more insulin resistant as we age, more insulin resistant. Hopefully I didn't say more insulin sensitive. Sometimes when I'm talking, I say the wrong thing and then I play back the video and go, oh dear, oh well. It's hit post, it's hit publish, I'm not re-recording. So you become insulin resistant as you age, and this can happen to both men and women. Women, it can happen rather quickly when we go through menopause. Now, it doesn't mean every woman will be insulin resistant. It just means we're more susceptible to that. We are just not as good at this glucose optimization. And if we have muscle, we have some place for that blood sugar to go, some place for the carbs to go. It will improve insulin sensitivity. If you combine this with walking, which is fantastic, walking after a meal for that glucose disposal, or even sprinkling in those HIIT sessions. So I hadn't done HIIT for a while because of the back surgery, but I've now started to incorporate some. I'm doing mine on the stair stepper because I can use the stair stepper safely without hurting my back. I've got really good form. I've got good core strength, good leg strength, and I can control the speed. And so I'm starting to do a few intervals, high intensity intervals on the stairs. This isn't a long time, maybe 20 minutes. Right now, I'm only doing once a week. I'll probably add in a second day. Other days, I'm walking and I'm strength training. I pretty much walk daily unless my schedule or travel interferes. So there you have an idea of how to structure your exercise program. If you are finding this challenging, I am starting a membership the first of the year, and signups are coming soon. I know I keep saying that, but there is a lot of tech to do this correctly. There's a lot of things on the back end. I don't want to just slap up a sign up and there's really nothing to the membership. I want it to be right, but I will be giving strength training, resistance training workouts each and every month. You receive new workouts. You can choose from 3, 4, and 5 days. You can choose from home or gym. So it will give you some structure. It is called Faith Plus Fitness, and it's just like it sounds. It is really the combination, the marriage of focusing on our mental health through our faith, through our spiritual health, through our connection to God. And for me, it is the Christian faith, and this will be based on the Christian faith. And then the fitness aspect, which will have the workouts and also meal plans, recipes. I will be having guest speakers. We will have all things health. And if you come in as a founding member, you not only get a great discount that you have that for as long as you remain in the membership and as long as the membership is in existence, as long as you're an active member, but you also are going to be a part of building this thing, because as I get your feedback, I'm going to know what I need more of, what I need less of. So it's really going to be your membership. So thank you for joining me. And as I record this and as you're listening to this, we are getting ready to celebrate Christmas. And if you celebrate Christmas, I wish you every blessing for the holidays season. And even if you don't celebrate Christmas, I still wish you every blessing wherever you're at in the world. Bye for now.